3-4 days in. How about those young guys?
Really excited about them. Some very talented kids, there's no doubt about that. Lots of speed, some good size, some skill sets that we didn't possess before they got here. So very excited about having those guys. The quicker we get them taught, the better off we're going to be.
Do you have a number in your head about how many of those 6 need to play this year?
I don't. You know, I told those guys when they come here, I have no plans of redshirting you. That's all up to you. It's up to the amount of work you want to put in, how committed you are, how much of a pro you are. If you're those things and those characteristics fit you, there's no reason you should be on the sideline with me.
Have you seen any guys that have put in noticeable work in the offseason?
Yes, absolutely. I would say some guys that really stood out to me. I would say Jaquay Williams has actually made some strides. I've been proud of watching him. He's done some good things. Pope has done some really good things. Pleased with his efforts. I'd like to see him get a little bit more weight on him, but we're working on that. Ricky Seals-Jones looks outstanding. That guy, he looks at weights, and I think he grows another muscle somewhere in his body. I mean, he is a big kid. All those kids did a really good job this summer. They're all competing. They know that there's competition in that room, and that's obviously our best friend when we got guys that know that they got to compete to get on the field.
You seen some of those older guys kind of respond to the competition?
Yeah, I mean, they have no choice. Yeah. There's no doubt. I mean, you better, it's sink or swim, period. That's how it works.
What's the biggest challenge when you're trying to fill in spots for 3 starters that you had last year?
Probably just getting people caught up to speed on what we're doing offensively. Once they learn what we're doing and they get the system down, then we start getting to look at who's got the best athletic ability. And you know, a lot of times it comes down to who has the most knowledge. You know, I talk to them all the time about knowledge sets you free. Knowledge is power, and lack of knowledge is what gets you standing by me. So probably the biggest thing is getting them caught up with what we're doing offensively. We're fairly simple, but it takes a little while to get it top. But once it does, you start seeing who's pretty good.
In that sense, how much of an advantage does a guy like Malcolm Kennedy have?
He has a great advantage. I tell those guys all the time, there's no reason that anybody from the outside should be able to come in here and beat you out. You have an advantage. You've been here before. You already have the knowledge base. You know exactly what you have to do to distance yourself between the guy that's coming in behind you. So they definitely have an advantage.
Coach, you're involved with punt returns. Have you seen any guys, especially the young guys, you're going to need them to step in for Dustin Harris, maybe come over and take over that role?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we're obviously putting a lot of work in right now, trying to figure out who's going to be our top candidates there. You know, the rest of the practices will tell for us. We're putting a big emphasis on trying to locate those guys.
Do you see Mike Evans taking control of that room from a leadership standpoint, or is it kind of split between him and Malcolm?
You know, him and Malcolm pretty much split it, but I would say that those guys respect them for, you know, different reasons. Mike's not a real loud, big talker guy. He does it by example. You know, he had a great season last year, but he probably outworks everybody in that room. That's leadership in itself. Malcolm, same way. He outworks everybody in the room, but he's a little bit more vocal. He's a guy that I can go to and can kind of get him to kind of turn on the group when I need him to turn them on.
When you combine Mike and Malcolm and put them with your 6 youngsters, how explosive as a group can they be?
I think they can be pretty explosive. You know, it's one of those deals where with young guys, I always caution there's so many things before you even get them to the field that you just don't know until you get them out there. You know, we had young guys playing for us last year, and there's a lot of things that are on the outside that you don't know about that they have to adjust to when they get to college. They're doing laundry for the first time. They're doing a lot of things for the first time. So lots of times it's who is mature enough to handle that transition that can help you play. But they are very, very fast, and I'm really excited about that because we didn't necessarily have that speed across the board last year.
We didn't talk much for 4 minutes without mentioning Darrell Walker's name, but it's a guy that you can see sometimes these seniors just emerge in the final year.
You know, this time last year, I wasn't sure how much Darrell could help us. I really wasn't. He was kind of sitting back, and I'll tell you what, he's probably been the brightest surprise we've had from spring ball to this point forward. Very talented kid. I like the fact that he's hard to tackle after he catches the ball, and he's one of those guys that when the ball's in the air, he seems to go make the play. So we're looking for those type of guys, and you know, when we're looking for guys that are going to be out there playing, it's going to be the guys that continue to make plays. They separate themselves on tape.
Mike had such a strong year last year, but what are some of the things that he can get better at this fall?
Probably the biggest thing for his route running. Just the art of route running, understanding how to control that big old body and play it with bent knee posture being a little bit lower, really being able to use that tool is playing lower and creating more explosiveness for him. His releases, he can get better at that, and believe it or not, you know, his red zone stuff down there by the end zone with his 6'5" frame, we need more production from him down by the red zone. He should be a human red zone highlight film himself. We need him to step up and do that along with the rest of the guys. It's not just going to be Mike, but we got to be able to throw it up to that big sucker and him come down with it.
Having him in the inside a few times during the spring, what kind of weapon is that for you if you're able to utilize that and he's able to master that?
Well, I mean, the thing that does for us is it allows us to get matchups. We don't have to just keep him in one spot. We can move him around. He's a smart kid. He knows every position on the field. So from that standpoint, the thing that we did with him in the spring was good because it gave him the reps he needed to be able to drop back on those.
Do you still label Mike as raw?
He's getting over that. He's definitely getting over that. He's starting to become a guy that's getting to where he's starting to become a little bit more of a polished receiver. He knows he's still got a long way to go, and that's really what I love about Mike Evans is he's a humble guy. You don't ever hear him talking about himself, and he's probably his own worst critic. He's extremely tough on himself, and I'll tell you, I coach him hard now. I mean, I coach him hard. He'll tell you the first few days that we were here, I was hard to deal with, but I think he appreciates it. He'll tell me all the time, Coach, keep on, because you know that's what I need. He's a guy that's working his way out of that raw and into being polished.